One of the interventions that I study is a conversation game called My Gift of Grace. And we ask the question in the game, what are the first 3 words that you think of when you hear the word hospice? And the people that are playing the game, whether it's patients or families or loved ones of sick people, they'll usually fall in one of 2 categories. So one group of people will say death, sick, illness, all these negative words. And then the other half of people will say care, compassion, home, and they have a very sort of positive view of hospice. And that's fascinating to me. And knowing sort of which way the person feels about hospice before you even say the word is very helpful. Because if you're facing someone who's a death, dying, sick person, you might bring it up a little differently than someone who's already sort of on board with what hospice can offer. So that's one strategy that I use, is trying to categorize people as to accepting of hospice or not accepting of hospice. And the accepting of hospice, when that usually happens, it's relatively easy for me to bring up the conversation now because I've done it so often. But early in training, and young physicians, younger than myself even, have a hard time bringing up the hospice word. And for that, a lot of times it's just a matter of putting it out there and saying it. And sometimes you even get the experience. So I've gotten the experience often enough where I use the word hospice and you can just see like the burden sort of be relieved from the patient's or family's shoulders. And they say, I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking that all along. And I would say that's like 80% of the time, because most of the time the families know that, things are taking a turn for the worse. Families are not totally out in the dark most of the time. They usually know. When it comes to families that are unaccepting of the word hospice and are not willing to hear anything about it, I usually like to talk about some of the benefits of hospice that have nothing to do with the patient's care. So things like support system for the family, helping you by having a 1-800 number that you can call, any time or day or night, having a point person, having a navigator, the chaplain services, the grief support services, the psychosocial support services. So I'll start saying hospice is more than just morphine. And if you start it that way and say, oh, and by the way, for the patient, what this would mean is that we're going to turn our focus completely to alleviating suffering and working on symptoms and working on problems as they arise, and not trying to preempt the natural dying process, but instead try to ease it, alleviate suffering, those kinds of things.